Hello everyone, my name is Sheffield. I'm a senior accounting major here at Troy University, and I'm very excited to be sharing my briefing with you today. So let's get started. In our online leadership course, over the past few weeks, we've been learning about the different styles of leadership and the different types of followers. And today, I'm going to take these lessons even further and speak about them, but in the context of the movie Crimson Tide. The goal here is to better understand these concepts and their real-world applications. As I mentioned before, there are different styles of leadership, but what are those styles? We have focused on three: authoritarian, participative, and delegative. Dr. Klein describes all three of these in his essay, Servant Leadership. The first is authoritarian. This is when the leader tells what to do and how to do it. It's a much more direct and matter-of-fact style than the others. Participative leadership differs in that the follower is involved in the decision-making process. This is often used as a method of encouragement, and it can help to further the employee's skills. The final style is delegative. This type of leader will assign specific responsibilities and trust that the employees can get the job done without much interference. Each style is important to understand because an effective leader will use them all depending on the situation. These styles are easily applicable to the main characters in the movie. From the moment we meet Captain Ramsey, he is very outspoken and oftentimes very brash. We get the sense of his style early in the movie when he orders a practice drill to be performed while the crew is trying to contain a fire. He makes this decision without consulting anyone because he feels that the men should be able to be prepared even in unfavorable conditions. The captain makes it clear that his decision is the only one that matters when he says, "We are here to preserve democracy and not practice it." It is because of this attitude he portrays through the entire movie that I believe Captain Ramsey's core leadership style is authoritarian. Although Lieutenant Commander Hunter also employs this style at certain times throughout the movie, his core leadership style is different than that of Captain Ramsey. This is extremely evident in the opposite approaches both men take in almost every situation. Lieutenant Hunter's actions in the midst of extreme crisis on board really reflect his core leadership style. He knows he cannot accomplish anything alone, so he assigns specific responsibilities to different men. For example, he assigns Officer Vossler the task of fixing the radio, and he entrusts Officer Rivetti with the keys to the entire submarine. And he does these things in such a way that instills confidence in the men and motivates them to get the job done. And this is what makes it clear to me that Lieutenant Commander Hunter's core leadership style is delegative. It is important to note that despite the leadership style adopted, neither Captain Ramsey nor Lieutenant Commander Hunter would have been successful in their efforts without the help of followers. A man named Robert Kelly proposed a theory about followership. According to this theory, a follower can fall into 5 separate style categories. The 5 categories are alienated, conformist, pragmatist, passive, and effective. I'm now going to illustrate an effective follower using an example from the movie. Let me call your attention back to the scene where Lieutenant Commander Hunter becomes aware of the coming mutiny. He pulls Officer Rivetti to the side and gives him the keys to the entire submarine. No other specific instructions are given, but Officer Rivetti takes it upon himself to take charge of the situation. He proceeds to stand up to a guard, free his comrades from the room that they were locked in, and then he joins them in taking back the command center of the submarine so that the missiles cannot be launched. In that series of events, Officer Rivetti displays the characteristics of an effective follower. He is willing to stand up to the leader when he does not agree with the decision made. He's able to think for himself, devise a plan of action, and execute that plan. And he does all of this because he believes it is the right thing to do, and he believes that it will result in the most beneficial outcome. Now, the type of follower a person is directly influenced by the leader's style. Rivetti responded in such a positive way because Lieutenant Hunter utilized a delegative leadership style. Lieutenant Hunter doesn't give Officer Rivetti just keys. With the keys, he also gives the ultimate responsibility and places in Rivetti his deepest trust. Utilizing the delegative leadership style, he was able to elicit the best possible response under such critical circumstances. Therefore, that was the most appropriate interaction between the leader, Lieutenant Hunter, and the follower, Officer Rivetti, in this given situation. The delegative leadership style is not just useful in a high-stress environment, it can be a useful tool to a leader at all times. This style of leadership most closely reflects my personality and, in my opinion, most closely aligns with the ideals of a servant leader. In my experience, it is best to cultivate relationships based on trust and mutual respect. The cooperative nature of the delegative leadership style only helps to build upon that initial foundation. And for those reasons, I strive to emulate that same delegative core leadership style that Lieutenant Hunter did in Crimson Tide. Today I have discussed the different styles of leadership and the different types of followers. I've applied these concepts to Crimson Tide, and I hope that I have been able to give you guys a little more insight into these lessons. So thank you so much for listening. This concludes my briefing.